An actor with an exotic mix of nationalities, Keanu Reeves has forged a unique place for himself in the competitive world of Hollywood. Inscrutable, handsome and very private, he's fashioned a career between blockbusters and smaller, more independent productions with an edge. It's a mix he clearly enjoys.
To me, it's just, I think it's great. I hope to be able to do quote unquote mainstream films and also do quote unquote independent films. You get to tell stories in different ways, and the way that you tell stories is different because they have different obligations, and responsibilities in their storytelling. So for me, hopefully I can do both.
Included in ET Online, America's favorite top 10 stars of 2006, it certainly was a long way to the top for the boy born in 1964 in Lebanon to an English showgirl and a Chinese Hawaiian geologist. Keanu's unusual name comes from his uncle, and it means cool breeze over the mountains. His father abandoned his mother when Keanu was just 3 years old. After this, he, his mother and younger sister moved a number of times, with his mother marrying another 3 times. Flexibility and adaptability are both skills which have proved useful throughout his career. Although he's now known for his portrayals of complex and troubled men, his early film career swung between comedy and action. After the runaway success of Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, he played the unlikely lead in Speed, an action film that shot him into stardom. In Chain Reaction, released in 1996, Keanu was teamed with Rachel Weisz, and the shoot was to prove grueling. Working outside in the notoriously bitter Chicago winter, the cast and crew would hear warnings from the mayor advising citizens to stay indoors. No such luck for the filmmakers.
The thing about cold is that it saps strength, and it's really hard. There was one day where it was quite emotional with Morgan and everyone, and we couldn't get warm, and we were standing outside. I think it was like -40 and degrees Fahrenheit, and it was really hard to bring up emotion. It was really hard, and you get kind of angry. You get this kind of feeling trapped, but you just kind of breathe and do it.
Around this time, Keanu was offered the lead in Speed 2. Surprisingly, he turned the film and an $11 million fee down. It's easy for young stars to become typecast, and Keanu must have been concerned that he would become limited to action hero work. Plus, he was physically exhausted.
It was a personal choice. I just come from making an action picture, and I was tired, and I didn't want to. It was grueling. I just come off of Chain Reaction. We hadn't had a script. It was really hard to shoot. It was crazy. And Speed 2 was, it needed work, and I just didn't have it. I didn't want to get into it again.
Keanu is not only bold in his career moves, he also loves to take physical risks. One of his favorite hobbies is racing fast motorbikes at night with no headlights, a trick called Demon Ride. Demons were about to enter his life in more ways than one, as his next film saw him cast opposite the devil himself, Al Pacino, in The Devil's Advocate. Thrilled to be working with one of the greats, Keanu deferred his salary so that Al could be cast.
He's amazing. He's I don't know. I've been describing it as acting heaven. He's just really present, inventive, gracious, kind, surprising. He's beautiful to watch. He's just great to act with.
At the 20th Annual American Cinematheque Awards show, Keanu continued to pay tribute to the 8-time Oscar nominee.
His generosity to me, just how beautiful an actor he is, how free, how considered, such craft, prepared, amazing.
Keanu showed his versatility by starring in the independent comedy drama Feeling Minnesota in the same year. This time he played a young man who attends his brother's wedding, only to fall in love with the bride, played by Cameron Diaz. The title relates to the character's desires to escape the gloom and despair of the place they were raised in, and Keanu felt some empathy with his deeply troubled character.
like the desperation, the pain, and for my own character, the struggle of trying to get over his fears, you know.
Something in his character's search for meaning clearly felt familiar to him.
It's a love story about these two people who get out. They get out of the city, they get out of their past, they get over their own fears, and they earn a present for a future, you know. And it's, and I just thought it was it's about love. Everybody, all I need is love. Everyone wants love.
Continuing to champion small independent pictures, he played a beatnik in the film The Last Time I Committed Suicide, a biopic of the poet Neil Cassidy. In real life, Neil was a great friend of Jack Kerouac, and he appears in his novel On the Road. Keanu played a hard-drinking, womanizing pool shark, but it was the restless poet, played by Thomas Jane, who captivated him.
There's something attractive about it, and there's something tragic about it. Imagine being in his skin, never being able to sit down, never being able, the thoughts of things just keep coming through my mind, and I'm just, I'm here and I'm now and I'm ready to go. Let's go. Hey, ladies, all right. Sure, let's pep another beer. Let's go, let's burn. And yet having that question, why, I've got this woman I love. She loves me. We got to be together. Why can't we? And he doesn't ask himself the question until Harry says to him, "That's not who you are, man. Face it."
In between work, Keanu was still finding plenty of time for his other loves, such as playing bass guitar in his band Dogstar. But his career was about to go nuclear. In 1999, Keanu was cast as the lead in The Matrix. Filmed partly in the new Fox studios in Sydney and partly on the city's streets, the sci-fi thriller was written and directed by the Wachowski brothers. Keanu played Neo, savior of a dying human race. Combining martial arts, special effects, and a love subplot, The Matrix presented Keanu with his biggest challenge yet.
And we did stretching, and then we just learned basic kung fu, stretching, kicking, punching. Then we worked on choreography, and then they introduced their kind of Hong Kong style wire work, which both Hugo, Carrie Ann, and myself were involved with.
Joel Silver, the film's producer, was confident that the mix of cutting-edge computer animation and old-fashioned heroic love story would redefine the Hollywood thriller.
I think that we're looking at a movie that I hope can maybe be viewed as the first movie of the next millennium, maybe the first movie of the 21st century. And I just think that, we can't be afraid of change. I mean, the movie is about the fact that change is necessary, change is good. And I think that, this movie is going to hopefully help redefine the action genre, that it has to be about more than just gunshots and explosions, I mean, even though there are a lot of great gunshots and explosions in this movie, it's just one of a myriad of items that make up a very different kind of picture.
He brought his love of physical risks into his work, but it wasn't the exacting fight sequences that really engaged him. For him, the big draw card was the internal struggle of Neo.
I actually kind of identified more with his internal life, more with his asking the question of, what truth, what is the Matrix, trying to understand the world around him. I really identified with that.
During the 6 months of filming in Sydney, he formed a strong bond with the talented Wachowski brothers. The film received an Easter release, and word quickly spread, skyrocketing it to the top of the season's box office charts. However, although Keanu's career was surfing new heights, his personal life took a tragic turn in late 1999, when his girlfriend Jennifer Syme gave birth to a stillborn daughter. Only 16 months later, Jennifer was killed in a car crash. Despite, or perhaps because of the tragedy, Keanu kept up his busy schedule, signing up for the second and third Matrix films.
I loved the material when I first read it. I was excited by that script. And then the experience of making the film was a great one. And then the aspect when it came around to complete the trilogy, just signed on board without reading the scripts because of just the experience that I had and the trust I have in the directors. and had a great experience making Reloaded and Revolutions, and it's great that people are coming out to the films, and I hope that they enjoy them.
The second film in the Matrix trilogy, The Matrix Reloaded, followed the continuing fight between the agents who seek to destroy the world's last humans and the rebels led by Neo. At the premiere in New York in 2003, as he and his co-stars walked the red carpet, Keanu sent a message to the fans all over the world, who were eagerly awaiting their chance to see the second installment in the sci-fi phenomenon.
I really love the films, and so hopefully people will, love them as well. So it's great to be a part of something that people, enjoy.
Once again, he emphasized that aside from the physical challenges of the role, what made the Matrix trilogy stand out was the way the character of Neo was written.
It's a great role, and the aspect in terms of the development of the relationship with Trinity and Neo went very far, and there's some the vulnerability that they were exploring for Neo, and was very interesting as an actor to play.
Having devoted months of his life to the huge project, he could finally sit back and appreciate the sophisticated world that the perfectionist writer-director brothers had created on screen.
It's giving a new words to really old traditions in mythology and the stories that are kind of uber stories that in terms of human being. I think that it's the aspect of the hero, the lovers, the wise man, the warriors, female, male, the light and the dark, the one and the many, community, the aspects of our place in the world.
Despite his now considerable wealth, it wasn't until 2003 that Keanu put down roots. After years of renting and staying in hotels, he bought a house in the Hollywood Hills. Although he identifies himself as Canadian and is eligible for a British passport, he's happy to call the US home. By now very industry savvy, he didn't take the huge Matrix success for granted.
What a great thing. What a rare thing, to be a part of something that not only that we feel so strongly about, but that, a lot of people feel strongly about and are excited about to see the continuation of the story. It's a rare thing, and it's very exciting to be a part of.
Never one to big note himself, he indicated that it was the work he remained interested in, not the fame.
Keanu, commentators are beginning to tout you as being the next big thing in Hollywood. What do you say to that?
I don't know what that means. Hopefully I can make do some great performances and make worthwhile films.
Despite his well-known reluctance to play the big star, Keanu set off on the round of premieres and red carpet events as the much-anticipated film opened around the world. Before long, however, it was back to the studio to film the last installment in the trilogy, The Matrix Revolution. With the tagline, "Everything that has a beginning has an end," Revolution featured complex computer animation in the pitched battle between the Machine Army and the Rebels. The premiere of Revolution was the first film to be shown in the stunning new Walt Disney Concert Hall in downtown Los Angeles. And anyone who was anyone turned out for the event. Keanu was quick to dispel rumors that there was a fourth film in the works.
Well, I know my work is done in the piece, but I'm really proud and grateful to have been a part of these films. I really enjoy them.
Although he spent time in Australia as a young boy, the famously nomadic actor almost started to call down under home due to the length of time he had to spend in Sydney working on the trilogy.
It's a unique experience. My whole 37th year I was in Sydney, Australia. I've never done that for any other role, or, I don't think I've ever been in one spot for a year, so in recent history. So You know, so it was life and art at the same time.
Although the Matrix films dominated Keanu's schedule for a number of years, he continued to find time to do other projects. His broad range of work reflects his keen interest in expanding himself as a performer, and it's ensured he hasn't been typecast. Athletic and keen on sport, he jumped at the chance to play an NFL player in the football comedy The Replacement.
It was cool, man. By the end of it, and I had like 30 plays, and by the end of it, I remember one time Alan Graff, the football choreographer, was like, he said, "Who threw that ball?" And it was me. And it was cool.
A natural sportsman, Keanu's perseverance and ability impressed even the director, Howard Deutsch.
He has incredible speed, footwork, and he worked for at least 4 to 5 months on throwing with coaches and quarterbacks, and I can't tell you all the people, how much time he put in. So he had that down. That wasn't a problem. But he has this natural footwork that all the coaches felt like separated him from anybody else they'd worked with on a part like this. Yeah.
During this period, Keanu made another bold career move. Not known for playing the bad guy, he was teamed with Hilary Swank in The Gift, the two of them playing a husband and wife caught in a violent marriage. The film was an exploration of the supernatural, and Keanu revealed his own thoughts about the controversial subject.
I've had experiences where people, who are, where I've gone to see who have been declared clairvoyants that have told me things that they couldn't possibly know. Yeah, so it's like, oh, okay, it's real. Yeah. For me, it's like an undiscovered science. I mean, I think that's how Western society will try to label it. It's like electromagnetic energy. It's like radio waves. Like we didn't know how to do that, but now we do, and so now it exists. Now it's real.
In 2005, his hard work was acknowledged with a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Just over 40 years of age, he had already appeared in more than 30 films, but had no intention of slowing down. He played the lead in another project which combined the real with the supernatural. Based on a comic series, Constantine reunited him with Rachel Weisz. John Constantine was a supernatural detective, and the kind of complex dark character Keanu is drawn to.
He's a hard-edged, world-weary, cynical exorcist, a man. He's a flawed character, a flawed man who kind of goes through a journey of redemption.
At the Japanese premiere, he contemplated his reasons for choosing this script over the many other promising projects he's continually being offered.
And Wei, who's trying to, kind of his world weariness, his humor, and what he does ultimately to save his life and save your life. And to save so many lives. But I just found the character so unique and original, and the story original, and the mixing of genres, the horror, the mystery, the thriller, and his humor. So I just found it just a great character to play.
Many lead actors refuse to take on small roles, but if Keanu loves a project, he's happy to contribute with a supporting role. The coming-of-age drama Thumbsucker, released in 2005, dealt with the complexities of an unusual family life, a subject close to Keanu's heart. He continued his dedication to smaller independent features with the drug-saturated science fiction film A Scanner Darkly. The film used a novel animation style, which painted over the live action.
It's an ambitious film. It's a Richard Linklater, the director, set out to make a comedy and a tragedy, a social commentary. It's an adaptation from a great Philip K. Dick novel, one of the great American novelists and writers. So it's got something to say about our
the world we live in. There's a little romance. It's funny. It's a little sinister. It's cautionary. So I think it's a multi-layered kind of genre and ambitious, original film.
He played an undercover cop whose drug use soon turns him into a paranoid neurotic, a state of mind the philosophical actor linked to American history itself.
I think as soon as man was kind of looking around, it was like, what are the other forces? What are they doing over there? Yeah. What's going on over there? What do you want?
Rick.
And, and Philip K. Dick, wrote that novel in '77. And, and coming out of the tradition of the 60s in America, and then the 50s with McCarthyism, and let's see, we have World War II, the 40s, and then we got the commies, the Cold War. It just keeps going and going and going.
The same year, Keanu reunited with his Speed co-star Sandra Bullock for the time travel romance The Lake House. A heartthrob to millions of women, he took the opportunity to reveal his sentimental side.
The thing about the letter is that you can bring it with you. You can see their handwriting and you can hear their voice and the scent, and it doesn't take batteries, and it doesn't, it's right there, and you can look at it. It's part of them, to you, which I think is fantastic.
In his private life, Keanu has remained doggedly discreet, despite being linked to a number of famous beauties like Posey Parker, Anita Hodson, and China Chow. His strenuous avoidance of the paparazzi landed him in trouble in 2007 when photographer Alison Silver tried to sue him for hitting her with his Porsche. In 2008, the jury took less than 3 hours to dismiss the case. Meanwhile, he was busy staging his return to big-budget extravaganzas, playing the alien in the remake of The Day the Earth Stood Still. Always looking for the story at the heart of the film, he told the press that the movie was even more relevant today because it was about man's impact on the planet.
What's cool about this film is that it is an entertaining kind of, big Hollywood movie, but, inside of it is, some great, worthwhile ideas and messages and, very personal human stories between Jennifer Connelly and Jaden Smith and even my character, the alien, so I think it's relatable on a bunch of different levels and hopefully entertain on a bunch of different levels.
More recently, he appeared opposite Robin Wright Penn in Rebecca Miller's brooding story of a woman having a nervous breakdown, The Private Lives of Pippa Lee. And he's also rumoured to be returning to action with a samurai film he's written himself called 47 Ronin.